Train voyage day 3. Ah, new morning. It's so cool and brisk. Anyway, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door continues this episode. With your host, WaterparkRanger. I am an excellent host. And, let's see. What have we got? I'm just going to check out my badges here, yeah. If you wanted to pause and look back there, you can see what badges I have equipped. Because those badges are going to come in handy pretty soon for, an upcoming battle. Spoilers. Because the train is awfully quiet today. Haven't seen anyone in sight. But I'm going to go and check up with the conductor and see how our voyage is coming, because we're supposedly pretty close to Postulate Heights. You know. How are you, my man? Ah, good morning, sir. It's quite quiet this morning, wouldn't you say? Is there something on the windshield? Yo! What are these things?
Hey, aren't those things from the station yesterday? They must have stowed away.
What should I do? First, we have to ensure the passenger safety, but I have to keep driving the train. Mario, can you check on the passengers? Oh, jeez, calm your tits. Yeah, we're gonna go and check on the passengers because clearly the conductor's in no fit state to do anything right now. Those are the things from Riverside Station the other day, and I feel like I should clear this up because the game is never probably going to do a good job of this themselves. Those things from the Riverside Station, I believe, are manufactured by either the Exnauts / Crossnauts, however you want. I'm always going to call them the Exnauts because that's just so much cooler. Or the Shadow Sirens. It's one of them who manufactured them. Number one, it makes sense that it would be the Shadow Sirens because they were trying to bring down Mario, and also because there was originally a battle planned against the Shadow Sirens to happen in Riverside Station. But I believe that also there might be something in the next chapter somewhere. I might try and point it out if I remember. There might be something that points out to these Smorgs being designed by the Exnauts and not the Shadow Sirens. This little monster's inside the train now! Let's get him! Capital idea, little chum. I don't know why Mario's British all of a sudden. Anyway, we're gonna save you and you. Damn, they're not going away easily with our hammer. Okay, looks like just a certain number of hits will do it. Oh, we saved the red dude. Oh, Detective Mario, you saved us again.
Hey, I must have been taken by those black things while I was sleeping. Scary.
They seem to have come into the baggage car through that open window. And they still have many of our paying passengers. Oh, those poor souls. They haven't even paid me fully yet. No. Damn it. I guess it's kind of hard to tell how to latch into this red pipe in comparison to that one in Riverside. There we go. Generally, there's some tip or trick that'll show you how to jump up the pipes. Not always, though. That is one of those cases. Anyway, this is kind of a cool part because we can get on top of the train, and the background's kind of moving. I like that. I wish there were more segments like this in the Paper Mario series, period. Because overall, there's so much fun stuff and cool concepts they've done with the paper. I'm a little sad to hear that Sticker Star was apparently just not as well reviewed as it could have been. Because I feel the thing with Paper Mario is you gotta keep the story and characters interesting. And it seemed like Sticker Star, from what I saw of it, was just kind of bland, overall. Even if the ideas and, mechanisms they used were kind of innovative and cool, you gotta make the story and world really colorful and unique, and really special and different. And that's what Paper Mario has always been about. Even with Super Paper Mario, even if I wasn't always a fan of the styles and stuff they used, they made sure to keep it unique. I really like this chapter, the whole train theme and everything is really neat. There's a lot of detective elements. And of course, this part's just kind of weird, but even then, we're on top of a train, fighting, it's pretty cool. What is that gnarly thing? Whoa! Gonzalez, look! It's got the other passengers! Oh my god, they've even got Dr. Computer! Alright, here we're going to fight the chapter boss, Smorg, surprisingly. Kind of comes out of nowhere. Anyway, Smorg is kind of a weird battle, which I would liken to, say, Morpha from Ocarina of Time, because sometimes it's really easy, and other times it's really hard. There was a friend of mine who was... Okay, my roommate was playing through this game for the first time, and he was mostly doing a really good job in the whole game, but one of the few game overs he got was actually against Smorg. Anyway, the deal with Smorg, like many bosses, is at first you're going to want to start off with a power lift, get your offense and defense up. The defense might actually matter more than your offense in the long run, because Smorg can do a good bit of damage with those tentacles. The whole deal with Smorg's tentacles, of course, is they're a priority to kill them, because otherwise you're going to get struck multiple times. I should have probably switched to someone who could hit multiple targets before I... But fortunately, we have a Thunder Rage, so I'm just going to use the Thunder Rage with her, and that will zap off the Smorg tentacles. Or maybe they're called Smorg Miasma. Wow, I kind of missed that. Anyway, once it reveals the main core is like 50 or 40 HP. Might sound like a lot, but it's really not, because if you use the Power Bounce, and you up your offense, like, did you see how much damage we did? We started with like a 7 or a 6 right there. And then Goombella, of course, is going to dish out a lot more. By this point, we might actually have more than half of Smorg's HP down, or close to it. Of course, after you hurt it, it's going to go ahead and regrow its tentacles. I think once you get it past half, which we probably have, yeah, it turns into this giant crane-like tentacle. And the crane-like tentacle does a lot more damage. Check it, 9 damage, and that was after the power lift. So I think that can do about 10 normally. The Smorg Miasma, which is, yeah, the Smorg Miasma is whatever it attacks you with, has a little bit more strength in tentacle form, but because we raised our power so much, it's really no match for us. This revealing the main core again, and with any luck, we can finish it this round, right here and right now. And this is overall why Smorg is just not a very challenging boss. He does not have that much HP. The difference is, if you don't have too much HP, and you get hit with his Smorg Miasma, like, with 2 good hits, you can die and lose the fight. So for us, it looked like a very easy battle, but that's because, like I said, it's like Morpha in Ocarina of Time. Sometimes very easy, sometimes, like, weirdly hard. So yeah, you always kind of want to be cautious with Smorg. A good rule of thumb is to have some Thunder Rages, because the Thunder Rages are always a surefire way to dispel the Smorg Miasma, at least before it turns into a giant arm. And then, even when it turns into a giant arm, 2 normally good attacks from both of your party members will be enough to kill the Smorg Miasma Crane Arm. And then after that, it's just a matter of how many times you can kill the core, so it's just not a very hard battle. We haven't even been, like, using hardly any life shrooms in this LP. Anyway, we're going to be arriving at Postulate Heights, making this perhaps the only chapter in the game, I think it is, the only chapter in the game where you can beat the chapter boss, and the chapter won't actually be over yet. Because we now have the final part of the chapter to go, and there's not going to be any more bosses in it. It's just like an extra part of the chapter that you do before you find the Crystal Star. And while that might sound like oddly like weird and off-putting, I actually really like this part. Exploring Postulate Heights is one of my favorite parts of the game. This is a really fun area. Also, one thing I like about Postulate Heights is that the music in Postulate Heights sounds a little bit similar to the music from the first Pikmin game's final trial area. I would almost advise you to, instead of watching my Let's Play to go to the final trial, just look up Pikmin Music, the final trial on YouTube, and it sounds just a little bit similar. Not like strikingly similar, but like kind of similar in the same way that Majora's theme is similar to Chancellor Cole's theme in Spirit Tracks. There's just those little similarities that I feel are there, but they're not extremely obvious. I think the same guy who did the music for Pikmin also did the music for this game, if I'm not mistaken, Hajime Wakai. I think that's his name. I think when I was a kid, I thought it was Hajime Wakai because I was more Western then, and I didn't know how to pronounce things the way that they're supposed to be pronounced. I've become so much more worldly. No, not really. I've just become more anime and video game oriented. That doesn't count for shit. Anyway, in here we're going to go inside a house. And there is actually something you can find here if you use the R button right where I was standing right around here behind the table. You can turn like sideways and walk through a wall and there's a treasure. But I actually only found that after my roommate played through the game a good year after I recorded this footage, so... Or like a good many months after this footage was recorded, so I couldn't get it in the LP and I'm not going to go back and find it, and you putting comments in the video is not going to help me find it. I guess the only reason that I've like been tempted to bring this up in a few the more recent episodes about like comments in the video is that some people have like in my Chamber Secrets LP, some people are under like the strange impression that if they put like a comment saying that I didn't find something or didn't do something, that will change or fix the LP, which is not the case. Videos do, for the most part, tend to not change after they are uploaded. I know that with YouTube Editor anything is possible, but the fact remains, once I put an LP up on YouTube, rarely do I take episodes down for any reason. Unless for some reason I get like some kind of weird copyright notice, which I don't think I've ever had happen before. I guess because I'm just such a good Samaritan, and honestly, in some ways, these LPs are like sort of like free advertising for the companies that made the games to begin with. Because I'm normally, whenever I'm playing a game, it's like, because I want to bring people's attention to it, because they should buy it and play it too. Except in the case of my Let's Not plays, because you should not be playing shitty Parts of the Caribbean and Fairy Tale Freakdown if you can avoid it. Please, there's so many other better games out there. You'll have more fun playing a mediocre game. Unless you're the kind of person who is, like, actually enjoys playing bad games. Because I know they do exist. Anyway, it's just kind of my tradition to, like, feed my party members items at Postulate Heights, I suppose. Because it's sort of like a vacation resort. And since there isn't too much battling going on, I always just kind of like to do the luxurious stuff in the area. Like, go into the randomly expensive hotel. It's kind of cool whenever they have, like, a vacation-esque area in a game. Like, the only other game I can think of that really does something like this is... Now, there are a few. I know Earthbound kind of has, like, a vacation resort that you go to. And, there's also the Tropical Oasis in Wind Waker, which I almost... The Private Oasis, which I almost consider being sort of like a vacation area. Vacation areas in games are really cool, because they don't, like, make sense, but it's neat that they're there. Like, it's cool attention to detail. They normally have pretty cool attention to detail. In addition, there are some penguins that walk around this area. They make references to their homeland, which is a chapter you see in the first Paper Mario. It's the chapter that was mentioned in one of my co-commentary episodes of this LP as being potentially the best Paper Mario chapter of all time. Although, personally, I'm either going to agree with that or say that the final chapter of this game is my favorite, because they're both so much fun. One thing that's absolutely certain is that the first Paper Mario has the best credits in the whole series. The credits in this game are crappy. I don't like them. And so, actually, I've gone ahead, and I know this is really planning ahead, I've changed up the credits. I haven't really edited them, but I've replaced the music with something that I thought sounded much more awesome. So you'll see that later on in the LP. I mean, we're about at the 75% mark here, not quite. That's going to be at the very last episode, is when we're going to have the credits. Like, I've actually changed up how the ending of this game is going to play out to make it a little bit more fun. For me, and I think for the audience, too. Give them something new to see. Anyway, there's this dude who always shows up in, like, every chapter. He always seems to be making at least one appearance in each chapter you go to. Except I think he's probably not in the last. I could be wrong about that, though. Who knows? Because there's plenty of stuff that I don't know about this game. There's tons of secrets that I don't know about it. There's this guy in the Rogueport sewer town somewhere who gives you, like, all kinds of random clues about stuff you can do in the game and little secret items you can find. But I've never really followed them, or I don't really remember them. But he's a weird guy with weird-looking eyes who's in the bar in the underground sewer town at Rogueport. So, just look out for him. I think his name is Old Wonky. Anyway, now you can jump and grab these shine sprites that are kind of high up in the air in the earlier chapters. They might be there, or perhaps there are other ways of obtaining them, but that is one way you can get high up shine sprites. Gone traveling, Sanctum Manager. No way! This is super weak! What'll we do? Ah, this is my dear Luigi! What are you doing at my doorstep, young fellow? Pennington returns! Oh, he's so awesome, isn't he? What? You live here? So you're the Sanctum Manager. I totally thought you were a detective. Well, yes, that is more like a hobby of mine, if the truth must be told. But enough chatter, Shall we go inside? And so he just lets us in right like that. We're gonna go in there next episode. See you then.